Hare Krishna. Study the Gita for transformational spirituality, not material technicality. The Bhagavad-gita is a encyclopedic book, not in its length but in its scope. Although it is just 700 verses, it actually covers a large variety of subjects, and it presents all those subjects from the perspective of a devotional, Krishna centered worldview. So, one of the many subjects it addresses, and it addresses repeatedly, is the system of Sankhya. It draws the concept of the mode, three modes of material nature, which is integral to Sankhya, repeatedly is found in the Bhagavad-gita, and further the Sankhya system of analyzing material elements is talked about in 7.4, 5 and again in 13.6, 13.4 and 5, where in 13.4 it is said Mahabhutanya Hankaro Buddhiravyaktam evacha Indriyani Dashaikam cha Panchachendriya Gochara. So, the elements are described over here. Mahabhutani, the five great elements, Ahankara, there is the ego, Buddhi, intelligence, Avyakta is unmanifest, Indriyani Dashaikam cha, that there are the 11 senses, and Panchachendriya Gochara, and there are 5 sense objects. So, 11 senses are the 5 working senses, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses and the mind. Now, here this kind of analysis can fascinate some people. I say, let me try to understand this more and more. Now, Sankhya is a whole universe in itself and its original purpose was spiritual. Its purpose was to help us understand that the material world, which looks all that attractive, is nothing so attractive. We need to direct our hearts towards Krishna, and by disabusing ourselves of the illusory attractiveness of matter, we can redirect our heart towards Krishna. That was the purpose of Sankhya. But one weakness of the human mind is that whatever works well, we try to extrapolate it in all directions, and we actually focus on trying to explain everything with it. Now, we in modern times are not so familiar with Sankhya, but we are familiar with modern material science, and material science has also to some extent today given way to the ideology of scientism, where science has had phenomenal success in explaining an aspect of reality. But from that, some materialists have extrapolated and claimed that science can explain everything, and thus this has led to the ideology of scientism. So, science is a way of looking at the world and a way of understanding the world. Scientism is an ideology which claims absolutism. Absolute knowledge of everything can come only through science. Now, thus we have the pioneering scientists like Newton. They said that, "Oh God, I think thy thoughts after thee." Means he considered his scientific discoveries as insights into the way God has arranged for nature to work. But there are today atheists who say that science helped them to become intellectually fulfilled atheists. So, basically what has happened is science has become disconnected, or people who have been studying science have become so infatuated with science that they have disconnected themselves from their original spiritual root, that is God. And the same thing to some extent happened in Sankhya also. Sankhya is a system of knowledge which is a part of the Vedas and which is built from the Vedic body of knowledge. It was given by Vyasadeva to his disciples, and in that way it was coming down systematically. But over a period of time, Sankhya became disconnected from its spiritual purpose, and then for many people today, the mainstream body of Sankhya, as is taught, as they think is taught by the atheistic Kapila, that body is actually misleading. They think that it is that is atheistic. It does not talk about God. So, they think that we analyze matter into 24 elements, and that is all there is to it. There is nothing more to do with respect to this world, and that is an illusion. So, when we study the Bhagavad-gita, what is its purpose of Sankhya? It is very clear. For example, it analyzes material nature into its various elements, Bhumirapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakrita ashtadha. So the Gita's stress is bhinna me prakriti ashtadha. Gita is just listing these 8 elements, but the point is not to analyze the 8 elements. If we consider the 7th chapter context in which this verse is found, the focus is to explain how Krishna is the source of everything. So rather than obsessing over the question, what are these elements, we can focus on whose are these elements, whose is this material world, and focus on that source. And the Gita actually directs us towards that source. That is seen even from Arjuna's conclusion in the Bhagavad-gita also, when he says at the middle, after hearing the Chaturshloki Bhagavad-gita, that Krishna, you are the absolute truth, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. This is in 10.12. And Arjuna is transformed. By the analysis of material nature, we may not be transformed the way Arjuna is transformed by understanding the spiritual essence of the Bhagavad Gita. At the start of the Bhagavad Gita, he is depressed, he is confused, he puts aside his bow. At the end of the Bhagavad Gita, he has raised his bow and is ready to fight in the service of Krishna. Similarly, when we study the Bhagavad Gita for the purpose for which the Gita was spoken, that is to infuse us with spiritual consciousness, to help us understand that there is a living, loving God who cares for us, and that in serving Him, all our aspirations for joy and life eternal will be fulfilled. When we understand that, then we become transformed, and that's our study of the Bhagavad Gita. Rather than distracting us into technicalities, it will direct us towards the supreme fulfillment of the heart that we are all searching for. Thank you. Hare Krishna.